Yeah, but I mean temperature. I mean, does it feel cool to you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's changed. Hi, hello to the Think and Grow Rich Daily Hangout. My name is Sandy Lebec. Apologies for starting a little bit late today. We're having a big thunderstorm here in Portugal. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, please let us actually go live because it's been up and down the connection since I moved here, but it seems to be working. So hey Glenn, out in Tennessee.
Good morning. And you can see the light behind me, right? So it's daytime now, of course.
Oh, it's true. It's changed. Yeah, because before it used to be dark. That's funny. Yeah, yeah. Now it's well, is it like 11 o'clock there your time or?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's 10 o'clock actually. Yes, 10:06 right now, right this moment.
Ah, okay.
You know.
Right. Oh, yeah. So we've moved forwards by 4 hours, I think. So yeah, it's changes it a lot. So I'm just trying to remember where exactly we were of the reading.
No, as I recall, I think we were at the top of page 5, and you had just finished occupying the world in the space that you occupy, not the physical space, the mental and spiritual space, right? And then right after that, it was going to go into the quality and quantity, I believe. Does that seem familiar to you?
Yeah, it does, and that's exactly where I had the page actually. I was just trying to remember if it was the right spot.
Yeah. So you want me to read Sandy today?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll just do it quickly, and then we'll just start right with the quality thing. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
There you go. Coming up here. Is it clear?
So we're reading from the lecture. And yeah.
It's clear. Okay. So I'm going to just start right there. And again, well, we spent a fair amount of time in this learning about giving, right, and things like that, right, and going the extra mile, right. So that's kind of back to where we were thinking the end of our last week, right, as I recall. So anyway, we'll just start right here.
Yeah.
Okay. The quality and the quantity, plus the mental attitude in which you render those, are the determining factors as to how far you'll go in life, how much you'll get out of life, how much you'll enjoy life, how much peace of mind you'll have. Next, it brings one to the favorable attention of those who can and often do provide opportunities for self-promotion. The favorable attention of people. You'll go into any organization, and if you're alert-minded and take notice, you'll find out who the people are that are going the extra mile. You'll find out very quickly. Also, if you watch the procedure and the records of those people who are going the extra mile, you'll find that they're the ones who get the promotions. They don't have to ask for them. It's not necessary at all. Employers are just naturally looking around for people who will go the extra mile. It tends to permit the one to become indispensable in different human relationships, and therefore it enables one to command more than the average compensation. It does something to your soul inside of you. It makes you feel better. If there's not another reason in the world why should you go the extra mile, that would be adequate. That would be adequate. There are a lot of things in life that cause us to have negative feelings. This is one thing that you can do for yourself that will always give you a pleasant feeling. If you go back in your own experience and you remember, you never did a kind thing for anybody that you didn't get a great deal of joy out of. Maybe the other fellow didn't appreciate it. That's unimportant. And I think in some cases maybe they don't even know, right? That's all right too. It's just like love. To have loved alone is a great privilege, and it doesn't make any, I think we have done this, haven't we? Great privilege, and it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. I think we did read this, Sandy. Can you come back on for a second here? I think we did read this before. Let's see. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Darn.
Yeah, we did. Oh, hi, Glenn. It froze. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm going to go down. We were down further than that, Sandy. We were down.
Yeah.
We had gone back to look at that paragraph, I think, on when we were discussing love or something, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, development. Okay.
So we put it down. Da, da, da.
I'm going to go to page 9 because I think it may be being married. I think I remember the relationship thing too, and your mate, right? That type thing.
Yeah, but I don't think we'd read that.
Oh, we haven't? Okay, on that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Well, maybe that's about where we stopped then, right? I think. Oh, it's a marvelous thing. Maybe that's where we should start.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so let's just get back on track there. Okay. Okay. It's a marvelous thing how long you can go when you're courting the girl of your choice or being courted by the man of your choice. It's marvelous how much sleep you can lose and still not be seriously hurt by it. Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if you could put the same attitude into your relations with people professionally or in the business that you put into courtship? Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing, and wouldn't this be a wonderful world to live in? You're going to start back sparking again. Napoleon, the audience laughed. Starting at home with your own mates. Napoleon couldn't begin to tell you the number of married couples that he started in on a new sparking spree. It saves a lot of friction, a lot of argument, and it cuts down expenses. Audience laughs. Napoleon didn't mean to be facetious about this. He was very serious when he said that there is one of the finest places in the world to start going the extra mile. When you start going the extra mile with somebody you had not been going with, sit down and have a little sales talk with them. Just tell them that you've changed your attitude. You want a mutual agreement for both parties to change the attitude now and from here on out. All of us are going the extra mile. We're going to relate ourselves together on a different basis where we all get joy out of it, get more peace of mind and more happiness in living. Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if you went home tonight and had that kind of speech with your mate? It won't hurt. It might help. The mate might not be impressed by it, but you will be nothing to hinder you from enjoying it. That person in business that you have been getting along so well with, if you went in tomorrow morning with a smile and walked over to him or her, shook hands and said, "Listen, pal, from here on out, let you and I enjoy working together." Audience member, it wouldn't work. Napoleon laughs. It wouldn't work, eh? Oh, yes, it would. You try it and see. There's another thing that we have called pride. It's one thing that does more damage in this world. It's that little thing called pride. Don't be afraid to humiliate yourself if it's going to build better human relations with the people you have to associate with all the time. Going the extra mile is the only thing which gives one the right to ask for promotions or more pay. Have you ever thought about that? You don't have a leg to stand on going into the purchaser of your services asking for more money or for a promotion to a better job unless for some time previously you have been going the extra mile, doing more than you're paid for. Obviously, if you're doing no more than you're paid for, then you're being paid for all you're entitled to, aren't you? You have to first start going the extra mile and putting the other fellow under obligation to you before you can ask for favors from him. If you have enough people whom you have put under obligations to you by going the extra mile, when you need some favor, you can always turn one direction or another and get it. It's a nice thing to know that you have the kind of credits hanging around, isn't it? We get our cue as to the soundness of the principle of going the extra mile by observing nature. Nature goes the extra mile by producing enough of everything for her needs together with an overplus for emergencies and waste. Blooms on the trees, fishes in the seas and water. She doesn't just produce enough fish to perpetuate species. She produces enough to feed the snakes, the alligators, and everything else on those that die of natural causes, and still enough to perpetuate the species. Nature is most bountiful in her business of going the extra mile, and in return she is very demanding in seeing that every living creature goes the extra mile. Bees are provided with honey as a compensation for their services, but they have to perform a service to get that honey, and it must be performed in advance. Nature, you've heard it said that the birds of the air and the beasts of the jungle neither weave nor spin, but they always live and eat. If you observe wildlife at all, They don't eat without performing some sort of service, without working, without doing something before they can eat. Take a flock of common old cornfield crows, for instance. They have to organize. They have to have sentinels put on for their protection. They travel in flocks. They have sentinels. They have codes, and they do a lot of educating before they can even eat safely. Nature requires man to go the extra mile, to go the extra mile. He's got to go out, and if he's going to have food, he's got to plant seed. You can't live entirely on what nature plants, at least not in civilized life. Over on the islands where some places are not civilized, they depend on eating raw coconuts and what have you. In civilized life, we have to plant our food into the ground. We have to clear the ground first. We have to plow it. We have to fence it and protect it against predatory animals and so forth. All of that costs labor, time, and money. All of that has to be done in advance, or you're not going to eat. Napoleon wouldn't have any trouble at all selling the idea that nature makes everybody go the extra mile to a farmer. He knows that beyond any question of a doubt. He knows every minute of his life that if he doesn't go the extra mile, he doesn't eat. He doesn't have anything to sell. A new employee, for instance, is going into a new job. Can't come in right in immediately and start going the extra mile and immediately demand top wages. It doesn't work out that way. You have to establish a record, a reputation. You have to get yourself recognized in this business for going the extra mile before you can begin to put pressure on to get compensation back. As a matter of fact, if you go the extra mile in the right sort of mental attitude, the chances are 1,000 to 1 that you'll never have to ask for compensation according to the service you render, because it'll be tendered to you automatically in the way of promotions, in the way of increased salary, and throughout the whole universe. Everything has been so arranged through the law of compensation, so adequately described by Emerson, that nature's budget is balanced, so to speak. Everything has its opposite equivalent in something else. Positive and negative in every unit of energy, day and night, hot and cold, success and failure, sweet and sour, happiness and misery, man and woman. Everywhere and everything one may see the law of action and reaction, and everything you do, everything you think, every thought that you release causes a reaction, if not on somebody else, on the person releasing the thought. When you release a thought, you're not through with it. Every thought that you express silently even becomes a definite part of the pattern of your subconscious mind. If you store that subconscious mind, enough negative thoughts will be predominantly negative. If you follow the habit of releasing only the positive thoughts, your conscious pattern will be predominantly positive. You will attract to you all of the things that you want. If you're negative, you'll repel the things that you want and attract only the things you don't want. That's a law of nature too. This business of going the extra mile is one of the finest ways that Napoleon knew of educating your subconscious mind to attract you to the things you want and to repel the things you don't want. If you neglect to develop and apply this principle of going the extra mile, you will never become personally successful. You will never become financially independent. The reason why Napoleon happened to know that it is sound is because he had a great privilege of observing a great many thousands of people, some of whom applied the principle of going the extra mile and some of whom did not. He had the privilege of finding out what happened to those who did and those who didn't. He knew that beyond any question of a doubt that nobody ever rises above ordinary stations in life or mediocrity without a habit of going the extra mile. It just doesn't happen. If Napoleon had discovered one case, just one case, where somebody went to the top without going the extra mile, he would say there are exceptions. But he was in a position to say there are no exceptions because he never found that one case. He never had a major benefit of any kind in the world that he didn't get as a result of going the extra mile. Become self-determining so that you can do these things without the help of anybody. That's the time when the payoff will come to you, when you can go out and do anything in this world that you want to do, whether anybody wants you to do it or whether they want to help you or whether they don't. You can do it on your own. That's one of the grandest, most glorious feelings that Napoleon knew anything about. Whatever he wanted to do, he could do it. He didn't have to ask anybody, not even his wife. If he had to ask her, he would, but he was on good terms with her. Napoleon got peace of mind from going through 20 years of going the extra mile. Do you have any idea how many people there are in the world at any one time who are willing to do anything for 20 years in succession without getting something back out of it? Do you have any idea how many people there are in this world who are willing to do something 3 days in succession without being sure they're going to get something out of it?
Maybe that's
yeah,
oh.
yeah. Go ahead, Sandy.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't sure if I was muted or not. That seems like a good place to stop, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think.
Oh no, sorry. Hang on, because then he says he's surprised.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, sorry. For some reason, I thought that it switched after that paragraph, but it doesn't. Well, I guess we can stop and just continue that tomorrow. It's page 13. I'm going to start remembering this better. So page 13 that we're on. So 13, 13, 13.
Well, and that's one of those unlucky numbers, right? but in our case, we're not going to go to the negativity of that. We're going to convert that into a positive, right? 13.
Right. Yeah. And I love the way that he really insists about this principle. You know, that you what he says about how few people are on that do something for 20 years without getting something in return. I think, I'm not sure if it's working or not, the video, but can you hear okay, Glenn?
I can hear okay. There was a little hesitancy there, but I know what you're saying is, and you know, and remember he said some people won't even go 3 days, right? On the extra mile without saying, oh, where's my result? You know, think of that. 20 years, 3 days, right? And today it's probably 1 day. You know, when you look at how people are today, you know, they're trying to achieve things in 1 day that, you know, takes time and work and development, right, to get to, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I found myself thinking about Thomas Edison this morning when I was out walking my dog Chico, because I was thinking about how when I think sometimes it also comes from the pressure that people have on, you know, if let's say you're working on something and you see what you create. Other people don't always see that. They want to see instantaneous. You know, they judge you if they think that you're not doing something really worthwhile, or if they don't see what, you know, like people did with Napoleon Hill when he was researching.
Yeah.
So many people said to him, "What's the point? What are you going to make of it? You know, he's not even paying you to do this research. You're just wasting your time." And I think people do that. You know, even like in our families and things. Because they don't. If you're a visionary, especially, you have to recognize that, you know. And I used to hear people talk about, you know, be a visionary, and I didn't quite understand what they meant. And I think that sometimes people, you know, a visionary just means that you see something in the future, either for yourself or for something, and you, even though it's not here yet, you can see it. You know, whether it's because it's an idea you've had, or it's some kind of awareness you have, a sense of it. You can see it. You know it will happen, and that obviously means that not everyone else can see it. And so if you can, and not everyone else can, you just have to sometimes remember that. I find that can be helpful.
You're right, Sandy. Think about Thomas Edison. Think of Henry Ford.
Yeah.
Think of those 2 bicycle mechanics in Ohio who sat there. We're going to fly, right? We're going to fly.
Exactly.
Is
people
right?
To Edison,
you know?
There's this.
You know, I look at Marconi.
This is really odd. There's a strange sound effect. I don't know if it's on your end or my end, but.
Oh, it might be my little doggy out there crying at the door.
Oh.
Let me bring her in for a second. Hold on.
Oh, she's really crying. I wondered what it was.
Come here. Come here.
But yeah, I'm saying that. When you have, like Edison, he was making, he wanted to make a light bulb. He knew he could do it, for those of you guys watching the video, and he kept working. Oh, bless. So cute. Hello. Wait, what's her name or his name?
Dory. This is Dory. It's a little she.
Oh, she wanted to come in the room. That's so cute.
That's her.
I could hear her, and I was thinking that's really odd. There's a strange noise effect. Oh,
Sweet thing,
yeah.
we're grown to really love these guys,
Yeah, I know. I can imagine. Oh, but yeah, I just because I was
Yeah, all the examples, right, of what you were just saying,
yeah
of people that they were visionaries, they were dreamers too, all right? They dreamt. I mean, they dreamt these things.
yeah
That men can fly, right? Two bicycle mechanics in Ohio said
yeah
we're going to do it, and they did it.
yeah exactly. So I think it's helpful to remember that because sometimes I know, for example, there are people in my family that I don't really enjoy talking to very much because because they kind of tend to be more they they look at what you're doing right now,
Yeah,
and they don't really believe, when people don't believe in you, it doesn't mean that that they're wrong in any way, but I think you have to just be aware of that and not.
I don't think it's not they don't believe in you. They just haven't. They don't have your dream. Yeah, I mean, they have not experienced your dream the way you have. I don't think it's a matter of them not believing in you. I'm sure they love you and believe in you, and at some point in time they'll look at you and they'll say, "Wow." And I mean, there's so many times this happens in a family too, where somebody finally says, "Hey, here we are," and they say, "Wow," and then they're very proud. And I've got a story about my daughter I could tell you, too. That's when we had our struggles as she was growing up, but in fact, I even kicked her out of the house, believe it or not, at one point in time. And we struggled, but finally, when we did Sian in the early 90s, we sponsored her for a Psi, and she went to Psi, and when she came out of Psi, she went to work and she got a PhD in psychology. So she had a dream that was inside of her, and she and I struggled, but I got beyond that when I saw what a real woman she was, right, and what she turned out to do,
Right.
I thought that was she's brilliant, she's and I mean, I admire her now as a woman, not just as my daughter,
Yeah. Oh, that's a great example.
Yeah.
What did you say when you were doing Psi?
Yeah, Psi. Yeah, back in the early 90s. Yeah, and you can look it up. Psi. It's in fact, this is Tom Wilhite and Jane Wilhite started Psi, and so almost all of our family went to it actually, and it was wonderful. I mean, I spent about 2 years with them doing things, including leadership seminars and all kinds of things, and it was fun,
Oh, so it's personal development.
Yeah, personal development. Yes.
Never heard of it. Okay. Yeah.
And Bob Proctor has worked with them, has worked with Psi too,
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think sometimes people just don't, if they don't see your vision and they don't. It can be they don't believe in you because they just don't really believe beyond a certain. They've got quite small beliefs about what's possible. What they've seen in their own lives, what they've seen around them.
Yeah.
And so if you have a very different way of doing things or seeing the world, they just can't really connect to it. So they don't. It's not like they say, "Oh, I don't believe you," but you can just sense. You can just sense it around them.
Yeah.
They just don't understand, and there's no like.
It's more a lack of understanding, I think, and they're dealing with. I mean, they're operating out of their paradigms, which we know,
Yeah.
Bob Proctor says paradigms are a bitch.
Yeah.
They are a bitch because they can lock you out of all kinds of good things in life,
Yeah, exactly. So it can be helpful just to remember. I was thinking about Thomas Edison, how when he was doing 10,000 attempts to make a light bulb, so many times people could have said, oh, you're never going to make one after the first 100 attempts, but he just kept going and kept trying different things, testing it and tweaking it. And so if you're, that's an example of going the extra mile, because a lot of people would have just stopped after the 10th failed attempt to make a light bulb, and so it is with so many different things, like books, novels, films, people that just kept persisting until they got what they wanted. So that's a major theme of Think and Grow Rich, and it's going the extra mile is like it's just like another angle of it, like when you can, it's like saying if you're going to do something, you might as well really do it rather than do it half-heartedly.
Right, and it speaks to your integrity too as an individual, I believe.
Yeah.
When you do that, right, that you believe, your faith is in that by you performing at your very best, and even going on that whether or not you see something immediately from it doesn't really matter, right? I think it's when you look at the mirror in the evening, at night, right? You know you did your best.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a powerful thing.
Yeah. Cool. So just to recap today's reading, basically go the extra mile wherever you can so that you can not only start to be noticed in whatever you do because you're doing more than the average person does, but also just because it starts to make you feel better, it starts to make you feel good about what you're doing, and it actually makes it more likely that you'll get to what you want to do, that you'll achieve it, whatever it is. So thank you for reading, Glenn.
You're welcome.
And we'll be back at the same time tomorrow. And have a great day, everyone, if you're watching this live or catching the replay. We've got some of you live here. And have a great day. And if you have any questions about the Hangouts, then feel free to let me know in the Facebook group or by private message. So thanks, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.